So I took some time to watch an interview where Alex Fridman interviews Mohamed El-Kurd, who's I believe a Palestinian journalist, poet, etc. And the reason why I did was because I genuinely wanted to hear from another Palestinian, to just hear what they're experiencing and what their version of reality is, because there are two sides to the conflict, and whether I will agree or not agree, I wanted to. The more I hear from the other side, the more I can contribute to whatever the conversation is around coming to a much better place. And I have some advice for Mohamed El-Kurd, if he's willing to hear. Not harsh, but true, genuine advice for how his voice can be far more productive, and why, after listening to this interview, I felt that his voice actually will not contribute at all, for one reason. For one reason, his voice will not contribute at all to a solution. It will contribute to him being just a part of the Palestinian effort to force the hand of Israel, which is not going to happen, and that will not be the solution. So that's why his approach needs to change. And here's just a one little clip that sort of captured and solidified for me what started to develop within me as I was watching him speak, and also based on what I was noticing that Lex Fridman was actually feeling, although he doesn't say this at all, but he intones this, and also when he asks him the question about whether he has hate, which Mohammed admitted that he does, and he normalized it as wouldn't it be normal to have hate, and this all started to develop, all of his sentiments with that acknowledgement about the hate, and normalizing it. And then this comment really made clear to me what I'd like to share with him. So let's watch this brief 40-second clip, and then I'll share with you my comments.
The region, but it also has some truth to it in terms of the threat that Israel is facing, including from Iran. If Iran were to get a nuclear weapon, do you think there's a threat from that?
But who has the nukes?
Right now.
Yeah, but like we're talking about this like faraway monster that's like we're scared of, it's like fear mongering. What do you mean? Yani, who has the nukes?
Some of it is fear mongering, but some of it is true.
I don't think it's true. I think Israelis are obsessed with genocide because they have enacted genocide against us.
Yeah, so there you see really what I would say was the peak, although this is still in the middle of the interview, but the peak of his being a person who is in a state of real denial, and throughout the entire interview does not, at least from what I've heard, did not express a single time any form of understanding of the other side. So Mohamed, what I would like to tell you is that if you want to contribute to things moving forward in some way, number one, just know that your resolution that everything has to be absolutely the way you want it to be, where every Palestinian is going to move back to their land and get their home back, is not going to happen, and your attitude of a lack of recognition that there's another side dealing with the reality as well, right? And whether you'll ever agree with their reality fully, but at least acknowledge something. Is there nothing for you to acknowledge? And how would you expect why should the Israelis acknowledge anything on your side if you can acknowledge nothing on their side? This is the ABCs of human communication. And so unfortunately, this conversation only reinforces the concern that Israel has, that Jews have, and that is the attitude of Palestinians. And I can go into numerous things that you've shared through this interview and argue them very, very strongly. However, that's not even the point, because I'm not here to argue all of the points that you made. I'm here to hear what you have to say and acknowledge that there's no question that the Palestinian people have suffered greatly Like the overall sentiment that you've conveyed throughout different parts of the interview, I agree with 100%. I acknowledge, and I think it's tragic. And I will tell you, as a religious Jew, that Judaism cares about human life, right? And human suffering. We care about that. And it's a violation to remove human life and human suffering. However, tragically, the Palestinian people, and if you want, you can blame it on the Hamas, you can blame it on the Palestinian Authority, but the reality is that the representation of the people has put Israel in a situation of life and death, which in such a case, Judaism says we must protect our life. And tragically, that comes at taking away other people's lives or creating suffering for other people. And that is deeply tragic and actually is very painful for the Jewish people to do. And we would love to be in a situation where we didn't have to do this. And there's so much to discuss about this. But the first thing is to do exactly what I am telling you, and that is I am acknowledging the enormous suffering of the Palestinian people and the enormous loss of life. Can you at least acknowledge that back for Israel about their enormous suffering and their enormous loss of life? Until you can do that explicitly, there is no dialogue going on, and this is not going anywhere. That's my piece of advice, Mr. Mohamed.